Good afternoon. This is Joe Bravo and Dryan Lynn coming to you at the third episode of the Northeast EDC podcast. Hello, Dryan.
Hello, Joe. How's everyone doing this week? Sorry that we're a little bit late.
I hope everybody had a nice weekend. We hopefully don't have to say that too often, but in the Northeast, it was 7 degrees and sunny. And for all you California SOBs, we were not going to be inside doing a podcast while it was that beautiful outside. Do anything fun this weekend, Ryan?
Honestly, I just walked around a little bit in the neighborhood and like in the city and just soaked in the sun.
Because nobody knows, Dryan's Instagram handle is
New York's NYC Knife Life.
there you go. So when he
Yeah.
talks about the city, us Jersey folk, we know what city he's talking about. Everybody out listening all over the world, Singapore, France, the United States, East and West Coast, Texas, Arizona. Joey, what is up? Texas, Alf down in the South. Everybody around the world is listening. So you better specify when you talk about which city you're talking about, even though everybody should know what the city is.
I mean, like the most important city in the Northeast is New York City.
Without a doubt, I know that. I mean, the most important city in the United States, but that remains to be seen.
Is it the most populated? It's like 8 million people.
Fucking it's the most densely populated, but we all
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I have been trying for the last 15, 20 minutes to convince somebody to sell me their Rask. And I just figured I needed to say that as this guy saw 19 different knives. Yeah, that freaking gold dragon skin for 1,600.
Okay, I saw that. I saw that.
That shit is hot fire. And I must have thrown everything. I threw keepers at this dude. I threw him a real fair cash option. And he said, oh, somebody offered more. And I said, well, go ahead, man. That's it. I can't go any more than that. But I just thought it was funny. He just texted me that he's going to bed. And it's like, how? How do you go to bed when you've got 25, 30 people messaged you about one of the hottest knives around that nobody can get that is screaming on the secondary?
Well, so how is the Rask? Because the Norseman gets a lot of flack.
Well, the Norseman gets a lot of flack because they're on number 4,000 or 5,000. Guess
Right.
what? There's a thing called market saturation, and it's there with the Rask. I mean, you can get a 1,000 number, you can get a 5,000 number. The difference is going to be what's the milling pattern? Is it acid etched? Does it have two lugs or what? RLW 34 or CPM 154. Those are your options. I mean, this is literally something new from Grismo that everybody's been trying to get their hands on since they stopped making them. So yes, the hype is real. And I hear from a lot of people that it is a fantastic knife. You got to get your hands on and then move. Because why? That's the knife game. What do you want me to tell you?
Right. Like, I mean, like, you just got to get it in hand and just to see like how it feels.
Yep. So let's go with the breaking news. Oh, wait, before that, I hear you flicking something. What are you flicking in the background, Ryan?
So I got two new knives this week. The one that I'm particularly fond of is the TRM Neutron 2. So the Neutron 2 with the carbon fiber scales that it came with. And honestly, it's texture carbon fiber. And honestly, like this thing, I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do. Like, it's been in my pocket since I got it 4 days ago, I think. It's CPM 20 CV, and it's got a deep carry pocket clip. Love it when knives come stock like that. And it's a pretty thin knife. Like, I love thin knives, and this just fits the bill. Comparing this to the S90V bug out, since 20CV and S90V and M390 are pretty much the same steel, this would probably top the bug out, like would replace the bug out, the carbon fiber one. That is the most expensive one, I think, right now. And yeah, because it's a thin knife. That's basically the bug out's main selling point. It's lightweight. It's a light carry. You could pocket this with shorts and like basketball shorts even, and like not feel a thing. So I think it's pretty much a bug out replacement for me, at least.
That's awesome.
And then I got the Chavez tack, the
Talk.
tack.
Talk. No, I don't know. I'm just saying that. Talk.
It's
You know what that
M39
stands for, right?
thin ass knife
Tiny
or
ass
tiny
knife.
ass knife,
Come on,
tiny
gotta
ass
get it
knife.
right. Yep.
Yeah, it was either thin or tiny.
Yeah, you're good.
But anyways, I have mixed feelings about this one because
Oh, hang on. G10 or titanium? Because that's a big caveat.
titanium.
All right. I had the G10, and that shit was difficult as you know what to get it out of my pocket. How are you with the titanium?
Titanium, honestly, the clip catches the pocket. Everything else was fine. Like it just slid.
Okay.
But the clip does snag onto the pocket a little
Fucking
bit.
miserable, isn't it?
Yes.
All
Like
right. Did you do what Will said? Our buddy
mm,
Will MB Wild. If you're not
what?
following him on Instagram, you better. He said back the screws out a little bit and just give yourself a little bit more distance between the knife and the clip. And that might help you a little bit. He is a Chavez guru. He's actually the one that told me to buy my first Chavez, and I was cursing him out like a son of a bitch because I rode that lock bar harder than a cheap whore on nickel night.
I literally had to YouTube how to flick a Chavez
Yeah. And Will
Redencion.
even told me I had an Ultramar 229 Tanta blade and it was beautiful. And my fingers hurt because I could just try to flip it with all that force and my hands were just on the lock bar. And that was back in January before I didn't know anything. And guess what? I still don't know anything. And lock bars get me all the time. But,
Oh,
go ahead.
so my main disappointment with this particular knife is that it's as thick as regular Chavez knives. In my opinion, I thought like being a tiny knife, it would be a little bit thinner, but it's pretty much the knife is tiny. The handle is just as thick. The handle might be a little bit tinier than a regular like Redencion or Liberation, but it's pretty much the same thickness. So I thought it would be a little bit thinner, but I'm not pleased about it. But is it something that I can live with? Totally. And one thing to point out is I made the stupid mistake of not reading the description when I ordered this knife from DLT, and I accidentally ordered the Tonto version. And
Dun,
it,
dun, dun, dun.
but yeah, like honestly, like I'm not a Tonto fan. Like none of my knives are Tontos. Like I'm usually Bowie or drop point or like the leaf shape, as like people call the Spyderco shape. But anyways, Chavez Tontos aren't that big of a deal breaker for me. Like it's close enough to a drop point of how like
Ria is making some of the best Tanto grinds out there. No
Mhm.
question. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and I do appreciate the hollow grind on this particular Chavez.
No, it's
Like
like a
you can
razor blade.
exactly, and I love it. Like I love pretty much like the shape of the knives, like all the grinds on this particular Chavez. On all Chavezes, it's pretty much like the same.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the one knife brand I wish I liked more than I actually like. Like I want to like the hype more than I like the knife, and it's not because the knife is a bad knife. The knife just doesn't work for me. I have the Facebook group knife on pre-order, and
Hmm.
it's gonna kill me that I can't. The scapegoat. And I'm just keeping my fingers crossed because it looks like a beautiful knife in the pictures and the rendering. I want to get my hands on one. I can't wait for Brad. What's Brad's Instagram? Screaming Pirate. He's
Yeah,
going to Blade this year, and he's got a Google document he set up for us, and that is certainly one of the knives that I am very much looking forward to seeing in person, getting a picture, getting a video, and bringing back that information back to this channel so that everybody can get a little bit of a firsthand view of something that was pre-ordered back in February that's supposed to be out in May. That if it waited till June and July, I wouldn't cry too much over, but I want to get excited about it because I haven't been as excited about it because it's felt like it's been so long ago. Did you order
yeah.
one?
No, I didn't. I actually passed on it because there was some other knives I was chasing around that time. So I just made the executive decision of like just trying to catch it like in the secondary. Honestly, like Chavez secondary, it ain't that like abusive. Like it's usually most of the time like you see stuff going for table unless it's like super super custom.
Yeah,
Like
those
regular,
228s, even the custom
yeah,
228s, they hang between the nine and $1,100 range. The
yeah.
Ultramars are pretty much all under four at that point. and it's fair, unless you get yourself a user or one of those. Who's the guy that does the custom stuff that I can't think of? He did the Vero stuff for me.
Are you talking about the dude who does the custom? Is it Fanatic Edge?
Yeah, Fanatic Edge. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking of. Yep, he does some
yeah,
Chavez stuff that's really cool.
yeah. The Star Wars themed ones,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
There was a Grimsmo Norseman that was Mandalorian themed, and I wanted to get that only because it was Mandalorian themed, and then thankfully I
Honestly,
talked myself out of it.
yeah, I'm not a fan of Norseman's just because of I'm a steel snob, so them still using CPM 154 as steel
They
when
actually went back to RWL 34 because the CPM 154 was too difficult to get, or at least that's how I interpreted that.
see, that's even worse.
It's the same steel.
Like yeah, but most people who are in that same price range are using M390. Look at Koenig,
Yeah,
right?
but like you said, Grimsmo's been doing this the same way, the same way, the same way. They don't rock the boat. Think about how long S35 has been in Chris Reeves' knives,
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, just now they're upgrading to S45VN and then playing around with 4V that
yeah,
I've
yeah, I
seen.
saw that. Did everybody see that on Instagram? They had that video or a picture, and in the comments they were talking about 4V. So it's really cool that even Chris Reeve has realized that they got to expand. They got to kind of,
Yeah.
they make a stellar knife, no question about it. But
I
a lot of
I would
people are passing them by in innovation, I guess you could say.
yeah, I would love to see a Sabenza one day be like M390. That'd be amazing.
Yep. All
And
right.
so one other thing about this Chavez tech, some dude online said that he wants a flipper delete on this particular knife. And I'm over here if you delete the flipper, if you
No, come
completely get
on.
rid of it,
You've seen the Fanatic Edge stuff, right?
well, no, I haven't. But how do you flick it
They
open?
put
There's no
thumb
thumb
studs
stud.
on it.
Oh, they do put thumb studs on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
go on Fanatic Edge and you'll see he's got a Chavez tack flipper delete with thumb studs.
Then it doesn't leave a lot of room for the thumb stud, is what I'm saying.
No, not at all. And my globby hands wouldn't be able to find that shit.
Yeah. But anyways, what new knives did you get?
How much time you got? I got my
40
Vero.
minutes.
All right, so this is going to be one of the highlight breaking news. Again, feels like it was so long ago. The Vero isotopes have finally dropped, and I was able to score two of them. I've got one in black carbon fiber, the other one in red carbon fiber. Both of them are stonewash blades. From what I was told, the stonewash blades are the ones that have been delivered in the first batch. They are fantastic. The blade is almost 4 inches. It drops. It is a very comfortable knife. I mentioned on the Vero engineering page, Joseph did a great job of coming up with a design to allow you to remove the blade and the bearings and the pivot, all without really being hindered by the integral design. M390 steel, again, running on bearings, and just an overall sweet knife. I'm glad I've got two in my collection. I'll probably try and move one of the two because I don't need them, but one of those is definitely going to be a keeper. I also picked up the the Pena Lani clip with the Dom steel. I picked up a Tuff Knives adapter, and I really got to give mad props up to Jeff Blavelt. I'm going to kill that name, but next time I call him, I'm going to tell him how to pronounce it. I know not too many people might know the name, but if you've heard of the Arcform Slimfoot or the Switch that CKF does, and all of the custom Tuff Knives that are coming out of the shop in Pennsylvania, Jeff is the same age as I am, doing the same stupid stuff that I do. The only difference is he goes to his shop and gets to make custom knives, and I get to go to my day job and do what I do every day. Spent about 25 minutes on the phone bullshitting with him, down to earth, and I picked up Tuff Knives. What the hell is it called? The adapter, and had one hell of a wicked lock stick. So much so he messaged me and said, "This is probably the worst lock stick I've ever seen." So whatever it is, Jeff's taking care of it, and it's a testament to makers that stand by their product, stand by their knife. And what's even great that Dryan and I were talking about, we should go on a road trip and go see Jeff and say, "Hey, what's up? then get back in the car and drive home. No, I'm just kidding. But,
Or
it's,
throw him on the podcast.
I mean, I'm not, putting him out there to do that or
Yeah.
not, but just talking to makers, again, I'm going to name drop. I picked up an NCC Robert Carter collaboration MK1, and I was bullshitting with Robert Carter for probably 25, 30 minutes, just shooting the shit, talking about makers, talking about how on the BBM, the way the detent ball locks up with the blade is absolute bliss. It is so smooth, and I can't tell you how many other knives I wish had that fluidity. And in the Vero chat, we were talking the other day, and Joseph chimed in and said, yeah, the BBM was one of the key knives that influenced the Impulse, and everybody knows and loves how influential the Impulse has been in the knife community. And to talk about a maker like that, to say that BBM was something that he held true in his design when he was looking at building the Impulse, just again shows you about how innovative that design was in the BBM. And I don't know if anybody has caught my YouTube Keepers episode that dropped I guess that was Sunday. The BBM is in there, and it is one hell of an effing knife, and I'm so glad that I've got it. But I did get the MK1, and I put that on the channel as well and compared that up with a mini Goblin that came in from my buddy Jack. Gave me some time with that, get it on the channel, and ultimately I went with the NCC Robert Carter collab MK1 as the better knife. The Tonto blade has certainly more of a usable edge to it, a little bit more utilitarian with that Tonto blade shape that runs on bearings. It is fantastic thwack on the way open, and really does a good job dropping shut. So they're out there. You can find them around the 750. One person on the Vero group was looking to trade one for a bacon. I think he just posted it up for sale with a sale value of $1,300. So they're a little bit all over the place. You can't find them right now except for on the secondary. And it's really something that if you haven't had a chance to look at, Robert Carter's knives are slaying it, and NCC with the collaboration, they're absolutely killing it. I did manage to get my hands on another Anton Knives Boudica. This was a front flipper with a carbon fiber inlay and Damascus clip collars and backspacer. Fantastic knife. If you haven't seen the Anton Boudica knives, the episode 2 picture was of the Boudica. The Damascus inlay on the pivot is absolutely out of control. And thankfully for Dryan, I was able to pick up a Hinderer Eclipse version 2 or generation 2 tri-way Southern Grind exclusive Bowie in battle black. Did I get that right?
Yeah, and 20 CV steel.
And 20 CV with a choil, because some of the Hinderers come with a choil, some of them don't, depending on if they're DLT exclusives. But I was able to extend that to my buddy Josh. I gave it to him in person. And how often do you get to give somebody a knife who throws it right in his pocket and goes, yeah, that'll do just fine. So thank you.
I'm glad
Dryan.
he likes it.
Oh, yeah. He was the one that actually got me into doing everything that you're seeing right now. He was like, oh, Joe, you got to go on the Hinderer Facebook group. I said, what Facebook group? What Facebook has knife groups? And it was like giving crack to a fucking drug addict, because now I live on all these Facebook groups. I'm sure everybody sees me. But he ended up buying a DLT XM18 3.5 inch. And he said it was okay. He got the Spanto with a working finish, and he was okay about it, and when he saw that Eclipse in the battle black, he said, this is the one. If this one doesn't impress me, I'm not sure what's going to. So
honestly, my gripe with Hinderer, I don't know why, but with the XM18s, when I hold them, my thumb likes to point downward. It's a super nitpicky thing about it. It's when you're holding it and your thumb is on the top of the blade, it kind of points downward, and I don't know, I don't like my knives to curve, so for me, when I'm holding it, it just feels awkward. But I have medium small size hands, so that's why I like tiny knives. But but yeah, it was just a super nitpicky ergos thing for me. That's why the XM18 doesn't sit well with me. That's why I got the Eclipse in the first place. And I tried it, I carried the Eclipse like once, like probably for like 10 minutes, and it just felt super heavy to me in my pocket. Like I knew it was there. Like it's a super reliable knife, but like just in my opinion, uh, I don't know, like Hinder, like super well built knives. I appreciate them for what they are, but it's just not my cup of tea.
And that's okay. You know, one of my first knives that really got me into it was an XM18 skinny slicer. The one before that was an XM18 Gen 4, and I almost threw the thing out the window. The Gen 4 on Teflon washers was so tough to manipulate the jimping on the flipper handle as I was rocking the lock bar. I had to put a band-aid on my finger because it was eaten up by the jimping. And then the lock stick on the damn thing, that's where the first time I figured out, through research, to put Sharpie or pencil on the lock bar or on the blade. What's the lock face of the blade to help with that lock stick. Nothing. I sold that thing and I cried to get rid of that damn thing. And then I got a XM18 3.5-inch skinny slicer. Fucking had like a world of difference. Like the heaven's gate was singing. That's how much I like that knife. And then somebody offered me a mini goblin plus $50 for the Hinderer. And I threw
definitely.
it to him. Oh yeah, and that's how I met my buddy Chadwick. That Chad, if you're listening to this podcast, I know you got a lot going on. That's another Sherpa or Obi-Wan that has guided me through my spirit path of where I am right now today with my knives and the level of different knives that I've been able to get my hands on. Without solid guys like that are willing to try a different knife depending on not making money, it's always great. Like the Vero chat bros, and what you guys got going on. It's always great to have a nice community of friends to get you to try different stuff without shelling out the cash.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on to sales stories this time. So any sales stories in particular that you would like to share for this week?
Oh, I got a couple. I'll keep it at I guess 2. I got one where I sold the knife to a gentleman, and he gave me the money. Everything was good to go. And about 15 minutes later, he sent me a message saying, "Hey, I had second thoughts. Can I refund the transaction?" And I'm a stand-up guy, and I don't want to be a dick to people, and he offered me money for my inconvenience, and I took it. And he said that he had second thoughts on purchasing such an expensive knife. Okay, I was pissed because I sold the knife. I was pissed. I had the money. It was friends and family. I could have said no because I had his money, but you try and be good in the community. I'm going to be honest. My buddy Jordan sold me a knife that I didn't realize didn't have a pocket clip on it. A Shiro F111 outdoor. Comes with a sheath. Who the fuck wants a Shiro with a sheath? But I didn't do my due diligence, and my Benchmade bushcraft and my K-bars, fixed blades, they're great. Who wants a folder with a sheath? I think is the better question.
Right.
But ultimately, I asked Jordan to return it, and he did. And then I ended up buying a more expensive knife from him because I felt bad because he did me a solid. I wanted to do him a solid, and that's why I had no problem giving this gentleman a return, and at the end of the day, what do you do, Dryan?
Right.
I handled that one
appropriately. That's the one you asked me about like earlier, right?
No, that was the one that that was Friday. Yeah, that was Friday, and again,
very similar story.
Yeah, well, here's the fucking rub. About an hour later, I saw on the same page the guy bought another knife from another person that was more money than the one that I was gonna sell him.
So he lied.
No, and you know what, man? I called him out on it, and maybe at that point he talked himself out and then talked himself back in. I don't know what to tell you. All I know is just be honest.
Right.
I found this other knife. It's different. It's cheaper. It's what I want. I'm going to go with this one. Fine, bro. That's fine. What do you want from me? I mean,
Like in my personal opinion, like I probably wouldn't do business with him again.
yeah, I agree,
Like,
without a doubt.
yeah, like I mean, because like he's done it. Like anybody who backs out, like it's very weary to do business with again because like they could back out on that one too.
I agree. And like I said, uh I tried to handle it as best as I could. And then, they'll talk about the other one that I had. Sold a knife on Saturday on Blade Forum, and I had a picture on it and no real information, but I like to have a conversation about, the knife that I'm selling. And the guy goes, "Hey, I'll take it. I just saw the video that you did on YouTube, and I want it." So he gave me the money. He even beat me up a little bit, but he gave me the money. And then the next morning, he wants to start talking about condition, and he wants to start talking about, assumptions. And I said, "Listen, man, you saw the video. I don't know what assumptions you want or
You
don't
might see
want.
this video or
You,
hear.
you see the video. This is the video you saw that said I wanted to buy the knife in the video. Then 8 hours later, you say, "Hey, listen, I saw that knife and I didn't want that knife because I was wondering about condition." And I said, "Yeah, man, there's a snail on the pivot. You can see it right here." And I did a screen grab for him and said, "Here's the screen grab from the video. If you wanted to ask about condition, and I don't know, Dryan. I mean, should I have been more forthcoming? If there's no information about it, it doesn't say like new in box, it doesn't say used, it doesn't say brand new."
So this circles back to what we were talking about last week, how before you even send money to a seller, you as the buyer also need to do your due diligence of like asking all the proper questions before you commit to something. Because when you commit to something, that means the seller himself or herself, whatever, like has also committed to selling you that knife. So they're turning away potential offers within that time frame. So essentially, by you saying yes to them and sending them money, you're buying that item. It's the same thing as like purchasing something from a store. So, but then you're like, oh, I want to return it. But then it's like you're also costing the seller potential sales within the time frame that you've committed, and that they may have possibly turned away other offers or higher offers even. So
Yeah, I mean, I even printed out a label. It was all bagged up. It was ready to go. I had to go to USPS and request a return. So now I got to wait for that to come back and get offered, and then my credit card be. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Don't get me
no,
wrong. It's
no,
just
it's definitely not.
inconvenient. That's
Yeah,
something else I have to do. Now, I could have spent that money. 8 hours passed, 12 hours passed. I could have used that to buy another knife. Now
yeah.
what? Now I tell the guy, "Listen, I just bought a Shiro with the money you gave me when you committed that you wanted to buy the knife. I don't have it because I already sent it to the guy for the Shiro. What do you want?" And it's
At that point,
frustrating.
yeah, at that point, like give him a Shiro or something, like like
Yeah.
because it also puts out a third party.
Yeah,
So,
without a doubt. He's already committed to that money too, and now all you do is have a chain reaction.
mhm.
And then I got snagged today or yesterday, Friday. Guy's like, "Oh yeah, I got this. Guy want to buy an Arius for me," and I said, "Give me a deposit. I'll hold the knife for you." This guy don't flake. It's not his money. He don't have an account. I'm gonna do that. I said, "Well, give me a deposit. I'll hold the knife." Well, Monday comes. Now the guy wants to vacillate and determine what knife he wants. So now I
Mhm.
waited all weekend to not sell this knife. And like you said, my opportunity cost has since passed.
Right,
And
exactly.
it's frustrating. But that's the game. You try and hinder that as much as you can, but what can you do? Sometimes, best laid plans, right?
Exactly. And like I mean, my sales story this week is just two very common ones I think that people who sell knives in the EDC community come across. Like the first one is just simple. Like just I, I'm I'm getting rid of the Giant Mouse Nimbus just because like I want more expensive knives. So it's going back into the endless void of recycling funds. But so I'm selling it for 160 and put it up everywhere. And this one guy reaches out to me and he's like, and I literally have the post saying like firm. He reaches out to me and is like saying like, will you do 150? Like I hate it when people do that. Like it's again like just a pet peeve in my opinion. But when people put up a post that says that they're firm at whatever price, and if it that's the price they're looking for, don't be an ass and like shoot a lower offer unless they don't put up firm. By all means ask, but like if people are looking for a specific price or at their bottom dollar, because like I mean a giant mouse knife like that, it like is worth about like 160 because it's out of stock, and the original like retail price I think is like 175 before tax on certain websites and stuff like that. So that's more than fair. But the dude obviously wanted to like knock me down a few, and I mean it's only $10, but I mean me being an ass, I'm just like okay, like yeah, sure, I could do 150 if you send me a label. A label is usually like $8 or $10, so I was gonna take the $10 hit anyways to ship, but I mean if he sends me a label, I still net 150 what I was looking for. So he caught on and just didn't like that response, so he was just like okay, I'm out. And then I'm like okay, whatever. And then 30 minutes go by and another dude hits me up and he's like yo, if you have this knife in a week, I got it. And I'm like how about this, like like what you were saying, put a deposit down. I was like shoot me like $20 deposit, like a non-refundable deposit, and like I can hold it for you. And he's like absolutely. Like easiest transaction I've had all week. And so he sends it to me and I'm holding it for him until like Saturday or whatever, whenever he decides to send me the rest. And then that knife is already packed up, it's out of my rotation, and it's going off to the post office as soon as he pays me the remainder. And it's just as quick as that. Like that is a flawless transaction in my opinion.
It sounds like Mo Sezzle.
It does sound like Mo Sezzle. But anyways, other story. I sold a PM2 Maximate with sharp dress scales, my Carter OD green scales, and a titanium lynch clip to this guy. Um, last week, no, on the 6th, right? So it's the 17th now, and the package is stuck in purgatory. And so he reached out to me about 4 days ago. 4 days ago, I think, May 13th, the last time this package was updated. I'm keeping track of it right now, and it still hasn't updated. But he lives in Georgia, and it's in the same state as him. He's actually like probably like an hour away from it. But anyways, like the fact that USPS still has some dead zones, I can confirm that Georgia is one of those states where your packages will disappear. And it's only been 4 days that it hasn't updated. And I went to go file a claim and still wouldn't file. Like I'm not even within the window of filing a claim. Like this Friday would be like the first day I could file a claim for it. So I reached out to the knife community and was like, hey, like, has anybody like ever experienced this? And like some dude from the UPS office was like, yeah, like who also collects knives. He's like, yeah, just the southern USPS facilities are still catching up due to like COVID and all that stuff, with like people just not wanting to work because they're being paid more to stay home than their actual salaries. So USPS is still experiencing a shortage. So if you have a package that's just magically disappeared, probably give it 2 more weeks.
So, anybody in Georgia or anybody shipping out of Georgia for Blade, everybody be weary that USPS might be a little dragon ass. You might want to go to UPS or FedEx, and that's not a joke.
Yeah, definitely, like, if you plan to ship out a knife using their USPS, good luck. Like, send a prayer, because you might as well just take the gamble with a check bag, or even just FedEx or UPS to wherever you live, or just drive, honestly, if you don't live too far.
All right, we got to get going because I got to go watch
Yeah.
Below Deck Mediterranean or Sailing Yacht.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, we have lives outside of this. Even though I'm always on Facebook and my wife wants to divorce me because of it, sometimes you got to put the work in. So, upcoming drops, go.
So upcoming drops, the major one that I can think of off the top of my head is the one that's in this month. It's 2 weeks out, less than 2 weeks out actually. It's the Vero mini impulse drop on the 28th of May.
Mini Impulse or Mini Synapse?
Or mini Synapse, my bad.
Man, you had one
Misspoke.
job. Come on. That's
You
1
were
o'clock.
talking about.
I know. It's
You
1
were
o'clock on
talking.
Eastern of 1
Yeah.
o'clock Eastern, May 28th. Be on the Vero website, and it is a pre-order, not a drop. Correct?
Yeah, it's a pre-order, but it's going. I mean, it's the same thing as. I mean, you still get the people who are butt hurt. It's like, oh, I got card sniped.
That is correct. If you want a DLC one, you better talk to Dryan because he's got that shit on lockdown.
Honestly, all I do is like I sit on the.
Don't tell anybody.
No. Here is my magic. I will reveal the magic. All I do is I X out all my windows. Only works on a desktop. If you are on a cell phone, don't even try. On a desktop, wired connection. That means Ethernet port in your computer. None of that Wi-Fi shit. And only one window open, Google Chrome, on the Vero website, on the item, and as soon as it hits the 59-minute mark, count to 20 Mississippis, and then hit F6. And I would say 85% of the time, it will appear that button that says Add to Cart.
F6 or F5?
Or F5, yeah.
Yeah, if everybody hits F6, they're going to be real pissed.
Yeah, no, like the button to refresh the screen. And literally, it just appears. Also, make sure your info is already preloaded on the website. Make sure you're logged in on the website to your account. Make sure your autofill is up. Do not use Apple Pay. I know a bunch of guys that use Apple Pay and still score, but like from my experience, do not use something that'll take you to another screen. Just autofill your card and boom, it like just instantly you will get it. And make sure your address and all your info is updated and on the website. That way it autofills for you.
All right. So everybody's got their tutorial for how to score a DLC on the Vero drop. So if Dryan, you don't get one, you can't come on here and be butthurt like everybody else that's on the Vero page, right?
Honestly, like I'm skipping this one just because like the regular Synapse, the Gen 2 fits my hand like perfectly. Like that is like my perfect mini knife size. Like I feel like a mini Synapse would be way too small for me.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try. I haven't had a Synapse. I haven't had a Synapse Mini. I haven't had anything below Mini Impulse is really just too small for me. Even the Axon is a little bit small. I did pre-order a Braxton, and I do have a frame lock on pre-order. I'm hoping that I can grow to like the frame lock. I think that I will. But let's see, one thing at a time. All right, I'm going to cut you off because I want to talk about Renegade EDC's new upcoming knife. It's called the Gungnir, which means the Spear of Odin. And I had to write that down so that I can remember.
The Spear of Odin.
Yep, if you guys don't know about Renegade EDC, he's been doing some great work, leather gear, custom gear, T-shirts, posters. He's got a great store, really cool to talk to, very knowledgeable about the knives. And he stepped out on the ledge and made his own knife. Not a lot of details about it because he's still under NDA, but he does have two different variations of the model. It's a bolster lock with a large, I think almost 4-inch blade, M390 steel, I believe. Two different clip options, a milled TI or a wired clip, and 3 different scale colors, green, black, or natural micarta. There's no purchase yet, but you can get on the notification of the wait list so that when it gets deployed, you'll get your email and you could jump on one. And I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos. It is a big ass knife. It is 4¼ inches. It weighs just under 7 ounces. And again, these are the pre-production specs. Some stuff might change. But if you haven't gone to renegadeedc.com to take a look, I really recommend that you do. I'm going to put the link in the website. Get on the wait list, and please check out our buddy Chris and Renegade EDC's new Gungnir, the Spear of Odin. And maybe that's something that's going to fit your needs and your EDC requirements. 4¼ inches is a shit ton of cutting length. I mean, look at the Isotope is 4 inches. My favorite Spyderco, the Police 4, is a little bit over 4 inches. I don't think it's too big of a knife to EDC, and it actually does have a spot for you to Spidey flick it, and it really does look like it's going to be a sweet ass knife. So
I'm on the website right now, and
I'll link it.
It does have a price point as of right now.
It's
does. $425.
That's correct. Yep. But just like Vero, just like Brian Brown, just like all these guys, they all started on the ground floor with something like this. And who knows, 5, 10, 15 years from now, we could all be laughing about the fact that we were talking about the first time you could get a Gungnir, and how, I wish I would have gotten that. I wish I would have been there for the drop. Who knows? We might be talking about Chris, like Joseph, and some of these other knife makers. So
honestly, people are sleeping on the Word production knife. Like, I know a lot of people, like that particular drop was up for a while, like the pre-order.
Ryan Brown.
No, the Word production one.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, the Lucas, right?
Yeah. So I think people are sleeping on that knife, in my opinion.
Yep. I managed to get 2. I'm not upset about it, and I hope that they're as good as the rest of the knives that we've been seeing coming out of Riyadh. Right? That is Riyadh, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I think so. Well,
and speaking of Riyadh and Brian Brown, repeating, Jaeger drop, EDC Foundry, and Knife Joy after Blade Show. Most likely, like, either like late June or early July, around that time. So just, if you want a Jaeger and you want a DLC Jaeger with micarta in the handle, definitely go, just like all their socials, join all their Facebook groups. That's the easiest way to be notified.
All right, listen, we got to wrap this up because I'm going to get in trouble. I do want everybody who's still listening, 40 minutes later, to comment and let us know what you had in your pocket the day that you were listening to this podcast, because it's going to really be helpful for us to know what types of knives our audience is carrying. And, if you guys want to still give the shout out of where you're from, what state you're at, what country you're listening to, that also helps so that we could really see what people all over the world are carrying on a daily basis.
And tell us which knives that you're carrying so we could roast it.
And if you find us on Instagram and send us a blurry photo, we'll roast that shit too.
Yeah. So anyways, follow us on our socials. I'm at NYC Knife Life, and Joe
is at Watson and the Shark. You'll see some recent knives I got up for sale, some of the new stuff that I've got coming in, and please don't hesitate to reach out and have a conversation. I really enjoy doing that on a daily basis. It's talking about knives. It has me doing this at 9:15 at night after a long, hard day's worth of work.
Exactly. So for all of our work, if you like our podcast, please leave a like on the video. If you don't like it, you could dislike it. You could comment. We need all the engagement possible. Share this video on your socials. Whatever type of engagement that you can do it for us, because this will help us grow the channel and provide more knife content.
All right, everybody. Have a lovely Monday. A great rest of your week. This is the Northeast EDC podcast signing off.
See ya.